Okay, so let's see what's going to happen in the next chapter of Zero Day, chapter 43. Darrow's biceps flexed as he pulled the oars across the glassy surface of the Potomac. It was Monday, after school, a perfect spring afternoon for the first regatta of the rowing season. The sky was a brilliant blue, dotted with puffy white clouds that looked like a child's finger painting. A crowd of Darrow's classmates has assembled on the riverbank to cheer Cabot on as they faced off against three rival high schools. Archer Prep was in the lead, with Cabot a close second. St. Paul Academy and Riverside High came in a distinct third and fourth. The coxswain at the front of Darrow's boat shouted out a new command, Power 10. Darrow gritted his teeth and he dragged his oar hard through the water, hands tightly gripping the smooth wooden band handles. The 8-man shell pulled forward, just inching ahead of Archer. Darrow heard a cheer rise up from the crowd. He exhaled, and even though he tried to focus, his mind wandered right back to where it always had been all day long, Addie. She hadn't been at school, and he was worried for her, for his mother, for himself. The news yesterday of that her kidnappers were killed should have come as a relief. Instead, Darrow was filled with dread. If Addie's kidnappers had been killed, who was the man that had attacked him in the parking garage, and why? Darrow felt like he was contemplating a trick ACT question, one with an obvious false answer, or maybe one that had no answer at all. Out of the corner of his eye, Darrow could see that the Archer team was gaining speed. He gripped his oar so tight his knuckles strained against his skin. He couldn't let himself get distracted. That was all they had been doing lately, and it was going to cost him this race, maybe more. Darrow grunted, dropped his oar into the water. Sweat rolled down his cheek as he pulled the handle. The finish line was straight ahead. Cabot and Archer were now neck and neck. Power 20, the coxswain then yelled out. Darrow's muscles strained, but he rowed as hard as he could, keeping pace with his 7 teammates. Sweat burned his eyes, and he could barely see anymore, just the outline of the rower in front of him, silhouetted by the late afternoon sun. More cheers rose up from the crowd, but Darrow tuned it all out, focusing only on the rhythm of his oars dipping into the water, a smooth glide of the shell, the sound of his own heavy breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Cabot boat pulled into the lead again as they rapidly approached the finish. Darrow put everything he had into his last strokes, letting himself be one with the rhythmic motion of the oars, and just then the Archer boat sped forward, crossing the finish line a nose ahead of Cabot. Check it out, the coxswain said as Cabot finished in second place. Darn it, Darrow said. He let out a loud grunt and dropped his oar squarely in the water. The boat came to a stop. St. Paul and Riverside crossed the finish line in third and fourth. Darrow put his face in his hands, still breathing heavily. So close. The team rowed their boats to the dock, and Darrow climbed out. His muscles ached, and he dripped with sweat. He wiped his face on the back of his forearm, and he shook the perspiration from his hair, splattering droplets all over the wood by his feet. As he walked towards the boathouse, someone called his name. It was Harper, blonde hair glinting in the sunlight as she ran down the steps towards him. Darn, she said. Dare, she said. We need to talk. Darrow kept walking. Not really in the mood right now, he said. I know. Tough race, but it's important. I wouldn't bother you otherwise. Darrow sucked in a breath full of air and stopped, sweat still burning his eyes. Okay, he said, as his teammates streamed past. What is it? Harper shook her head. Not here. Too many people. I need to talk to you alone. Yeah, all right. Just let me get my things from... And he stopped short, glancing over Harper's shoulder at a familiar motorcade parked on the street. His heart strained against his rib cage, even harder than it had moments ago when he was trying to bring his boat home. Ad, he began. The back door of the town car opened. A set of long, slender legs and black leather leggings spun out, and a pair of high heels hit the ground. A girl emerged wearing round sunglasses that covered half of her face. She leaned casually on the car, spanning the crowd. The heat rose in Darrow's cheeks. It couldn't be. The girl lifted her sunglasses. She briefly caught Darrow's eyes, biting her lip, and smiled ever so slightly, and then, with a flick of her golden brown hair, she slipped back into the car. A moment later, it pulled away. Ooh, is that Eleanor? Did she finally arrive into our story? Will we get to hear about her and what's going on? Because she hasn't been here yet. Thanks for listening. Till next time.